Hey, welcome World Entertainment, and I suppose non-spoiler review for Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. So, this is a movie they decided to release. It's bad, to say the least. It is not good. Now let's get straight to the first thing. Amber Heard. Oh, I'm sorry, Amber Heard. How much is she in the movie? Is she in the movie much? You hear certain things, oh, she's in it 5 minutes, she's in it this, whatnot. She is in it, and she is in it quite a bit. I don't know where they were saying they cut down her role. I really don't. She is in the first 35 minutes of the movie. She gets injured, which we've all heard that she was going to get injured and sidelined. She's only sidelined for the second act, because she is back for the entire third act of the movie, including the final big showdown. She is a part of that showdown. So she is in here a lot. She doesn't have a ton of dialogue, however, but she is in here a lot. So for people wondering just how much of Amber Heard is actually in this movie, she's in the first 35 minutes and the entire final act of the movie. What is the actual movie? Is it just about Arthur Curry, Aquaman, having to get his brother arm and take down Black Manta? No, that is not what the movie is at all. In fact, all you have to do, and I heard this analogy, and after watching the movie it's like, yeah, that's exactly what this movie is. Think the Mummy 3, whatever it was called, the Dragon King or whatever, with Jet Li. The way there's an army of the dead and he's fighting to get raised from the dead and crap, that's what this movie is. I kid you not, that's what this movie is. Black Manta is hell-bent on revenge against Aquaman, but he's looking for Atlantis. He has this scientist dude with him, can't remember his name, an annoying character, who is trying to help him find Atlantis, and they're in, I'm assuming it's the Antarctic. I don't remember it saying where it was, but it's all icy. And him, not Black Manta, the scientist guy, and this other dude fall through the ice, and he sends the signal to Black Manta to say, we found something here. The dude that was with the scientist gets taken away by this big tentacle thing. And when they're down there, Black Manta finds the Dark Trident, and when he puts it together, he gets pretty much possessed from what's actually the villain of the movie. And I kid you not, the name of this villain is Codax. Yeah, so Codax was a king or something of a seventh kingdom. Apparently there was 7 kingdoms. And him and his brother argued over the use of this power thing that's destroying the earth. And they fight, and his brother wins and entraps him in the ice. So basically, he needs Black Manta to free him. How exactly is he to free him? Well, you need to get rid of the ice to start with, which is what the film is actually about. You've guessed it, climate change. I'm not joking. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, its story is in fact about climate change. Yeah. So Black Manta starts powering up this furnace thing and just dumping this power source into it, which ends up destroying not just the surface but underwater as well. And that's why the Atlanteans stopped using this stuff and forbade using this stuff. Why they keep it around, don't know. So that's what the actual story is. And because Mira gets taken out by Black Manta in the first act, like literally on the 35th minute it happens, she gets sidelined, so he goes to get his brother, and he has to break his brother out. When they're telling you that this is going to be in the style of a buddy cop movie, it's not even that. It really isn't, because buddy cop movies are like fun, bit of comedy and stuff. This movie takes itself a bit too serious, really does, and it's just weird. The visual effects in this movie are horrendous. Like, if you remember in the trailer, and even the image of Nicole Kidman's character hanging onto the side of whatever it was she was meant to be hanging on, and you just looked at that image and in the trailer you're just like, ooh, that's bad. That sequence is a long sequence, and it is horrendously bad from start to finish. It's just so digital, and she looks so plastic. You're just like, oh, this looks terrible. There's only like a tiny fraction of the effects that don't look too bad, and it's when something's like quite close. But other than that, the effects are god awful. Just truly god awful. One of the other things is William Dafoe isn't in this, and they saying he died in the first one. I don't remember him dying in the first movie. Was he not standing with them all on the whatever it was they were standing on, the ship or something, the Atlantean ship at the end of the first movie? There's no explanation as to how he died or anything. They're just like saying, oh, I think it was, they said your brother murdered your mentor. And I was like, and they kept saying his name. I was like, isn't that the character William Dafoe? I don't remember him dying. They don't mention that he died before that. And this takes place 4 years after the first movie, and they tell you in that time that he became a father, he became a husband, blah blah blah. No, the baby doesn't die in the movie. They must have changed that after getting the horrendous backlash that they got from screenings when they were shown that the baby died, because it don't die no more. The baby's also useless. The running joke with the baby and Aquaman is that it keeps pissing in his face, and then they do a couple more jokes of pissing in his face, even not with the baby, and you're just like, oh, you thought that joke was hilarious and you just ran with it. There's nothing funny in the movie. Like, I didn't crack a smile at all. There's just no fun to be had with this movie. The first movie, like, how it made $1 billion, we'll never know, but it wasn't terrible. It was enjoyable, you know. It was literally a popcorn movie. This thing is not, because it's a lot of just standing around talking. It truly is. The majority of the scenes are just standing around talking. And Arthur also hates being the king of Atlantis. He thought it was great to start with, but then he's bored because he doesn't rule completely. He has to answer to a council, which he didn't know there was a council. So that's the other part that they want to do with it. On top of the terrible special effects, the editing is quite bad in parts. It's not too terrible at the beginning, but by midway through the second half, all the way to the end of the movie, it gets really bad. And I'll give you an example. This is in the trailers, and we also know this happens. When Black Manta destroys the house, all we see in this scene is Aquaman's father. He's sitting on a couch watching the news with the baby, who's, I think is called Arthur Jr. He's watching the news because the world's going to hell now. You know, the temperatures are rising in one area, floods are happening everywhere else, because it's the whole global warming crap. The power goes out, he goes to get a torch, Black Manta is there, and I'm assuming he stabs him. Don't know what he stabs him with, because you can't see it. They don't show you that. He just says, I'm going to leave you alive so you can watch him die. It immediately cuts from that to Arthur running up the pier screaming with the house up in flames, the lighthouse like. So you saw that you never saw Black Manta escape, you never saw any repercussion, you didn't see him start the fire in the house or anything like that. It's literally stabs the father in a dark house, says his line to him, bang. Arthur, the mother, Nicole Kidman, and Rom, or whatever you pronounce his name, and Mira are running up the pier screaming because the house is on fire. And you're like, that was horrendous editing for that moment. And then there's other moments like that. The only person who was actually decent enough in it. You know, the chemistry between Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson is good. That's fine. He really doesn't have much chemistry with anyone else, to be honest. But the only other person in the movie who was fine and actually was at least trying, because no one else seems to try. Nicole Kidman looks like she's sleepwalking through this film, and Amber Heard is Amber Heard. The only other person actually trying was Dolph Lundgren, which I actually forgot was in the movie. And he's barely in the... He's actually less in the movie than Amber Heard's in the movie. He's in basically the majority of the third act, and he's in like a fraction. It's either at the beginning or... Yeah, it's right at the start of the second act, basically, because it's when Mira gets incapacitated and Arthur is speaking with his mother and Dolph Lundgren's character about going to get his brother. He was the only other decent thing about the movie. Not that he had much to do, but he was the only other decent thing. Overall, for a movie that is ending the DCEU, because this is the final ever DCEU movie, and the movie that's closing out the Snyderverse end of things, people are saying it's gone out with a whimper. Oh no. Oh, it's worse than that. It went out worse than a candle just fizzles out. It was just practically non-existent. Why this movie even exists, I don't know. It's so bad. There is a post-credit scene, and it's don't even bother. Don't even bother. It's literally the brother eating a cheeseburger. That's it. He's eating a cheeseburger. Yippee. That's your post-credit scene. There's only the one. Oh, it's so bad. And to find out that your final movie in the DCEU was a climate change movie. That's what it's actually about, climate change. Wow. What a way to go out. But there you go. That's the non-spoiler review, and trust me, there's a lot I haven't spoiled. Watch it at your own risk, you know. I'm not telling you can't watch it and can't enjoy it. If you do, all the power to you. But yeah, it's, thank God there's no more DC movies for the next year. Unfortunately, we didn't get James Gunn's DCU, which just sounds like it's going to be a mess as well. But there you go. Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. Should have been Aquaman Climate Change, because that's what it really was. So with that, I will leave it there for this one. So cheers. I'll catch you in the next one.